Welcome back, everybody. It is MOSHCAST. Episode Who Fucking Knows? Your host, Almighty Sai. Me, motherfuckers. It's me. I'm your host. Always. I don't want peace. I want problems. Always. You know what I'm saying? I like that meme. That little TikTok. Or that one guy where he's like, bad times don't stay. Only strong people stay. Anyway, welcome back, guys. You're probably wondering, what the fuck's going on, dude? There's podcasts here, podcasts there, everywhere. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I've had a lot of stuff going on. And it is hard to find promos for these podcasts because I love everybody that comes on this podcast and I want them to feel special all the time. It's hard to make promos for these podcasts while my daughter's around, and my daughter was around, and so I've taken a weird little. I put 2 pods this week, and then, who knows? Maybe I'm just gonna do this never again. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna do this always. But anyway, we have a special guest today. A call in. I'm going to fanboy over her for a little bit. I've been a big, huge fan of hers for a long time. And we're going to get into how this all started and everything because there is a backstory. But, I got a chance to talk to one of my favorite artists recently. She is a phenomenal artist. She's been on Instagram for a long time. That's where I found her. And, I hit her up one day and I said, hey, look, I got this thing going and I want to talk to you about it. And she agreed. And so I have her on the phone. I'm going to call her up right now and we're going to, shoot the shit and, get her name out there a little bit more because she deserves it. And, she is a phenomenal artist. Like I said, I'll post some pictures of what she does on here. But yeah, let's call her up right now and talk to her.
Hello.
Miss Park, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, everybody. What is it just Park Art? Is that your name?
A lot of people just call me Park, which
Okay.
is totally fine. Yeah.
Boys and girls, cats and squirrels, I'd like to introduce Park.
Yeah. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, I've actually never done anything like this, so
You
this is
ne-
really cool.
oh wow, you never like had an interview or a little bit of a talk about your music your art or anything?
No, I mean like I've sat down to like kind of collab with some people or like they've written like or I've submitted like some pieces to like someone's little like local zine
Yeah.
and they'll like do a small write up on me, but like nothing like where there's like a back and forth conversation. I've never done anything like
Oh wow. Well, surprise, here you go. It's yours. It's your
that.
podcast and I'm honored to be the person to do so for you. Um
Yeah, I will.
but yeah. So this is kind of a new thing for you and well it's not a new thing for me, but I always get nervous on podcasts for some reason and I've been on stage since I was 6 years old, so I don't know why I still get nervous, but like I always still get nervous every time I talk to somebody new, or on the camera, or on stage. I don't think I'll ever get over that.
Yeah, that might be a good thing though. You know,
Yeah,
like keep you a little on your toes. Like, yeah, you're still excited to do it. You still like care. You want it to go well, so you feel all those nerves and anxiety. So,
right. I guess it shows that I'm not like 100% a narcissist, you know.
yeah, yeah.
But everybody, I have a new cup. I'm sorry, I have to do a little
Yeah.
ad thing. I got a cup from one of my friends. I'm gonna put all of her stuff right here. Boom, and it's gonna have all of her information. It's a MOSHCAST cup. It's literally my face on a cup like the little logo I have, and it says MOSHCAST, and I'm drinking literally Capri Suns out of it because you can cut those open. I don't know if anybody knows that you can cut them open and you can put them in cups if you want to. You don't have to suck through that straw. It's a real thing. It's a real thing you can do. But nobody knows that. They're
Oh
like,
my
oh,
God.
what? I gotta look like a child. I gotta look like a 3 year old and drinking out of these Capri Sun cups, these little squeezers. And I'm like, nah, just tear that bitch open and put some ice and take like 3 or 4 of them, and there you go. You got yourself like a really cool, different style of refreshment for an adult.
You turned it into an adult beverage.
Yeah, I turned it into
Uh,
an adult beverage.
you don't have to ask your friend like when you can't get the straw into the towel, and you're like, "Hey, can you
Yeah,
try this? Because I can't get my juice."
yeah, for real. And it sucks because you either break the straw or like you dull the into it, and you're just like, I can't. I'm not gonna be able to drink this ever again. It's just gonna be that one pouch in your refrigerator for the rest of your life that doesn't get drank because you fucked up the straw.
I remember that. I wanted to ask you about the logo on the cup. Is that the one where it's just like your glasses and your beard?
Yeah, yeah,
That is one of the best logos I've ever seen for like any type of indie, like any like do yourself anything.
well,
Honestly, I feel like it's very simple, it's very clean, and like it represents you.
well, thank you.
And yeah,
I
very well
have
done.
I have a guy that does my thumbnails and my art, like not my I wouldn't say art, but he does my thumbnails. So every thumbnail that you see on my YouTube and my logo, I have a guy from the Czech Republic. His name is Loss. He has a channel, Loss Channel, and he does like music and all that stuff, and he's a great guy. I promoted you, bud, so you better fucking see this shit. Nah, he's a really cool dude. But for some reason, it was just I was looking for somebody, and I had some music friends, and they're like, "Hey, you should check this guy out." And I found out that he was from the Czech Republic, and it kind of just went off from there. And I was like, "Hey, dude, like I need thumbnails, I need logos, and I got you, bro." And it like took him like 2 days, and he made all that shit happen. And I was like, "Damn, bro, this is badass." So he's my guy for
Yeah,
right now.
that's
But
so awesome. Yeah, you just like met him through other people
yeah,
randomly, through
yeah, and
other like creative connections.
yeah, literally overseas. And a little plug for me. We do have a cipher that is going to be happening in March with the whole Lost Channel group, which will be from the Czech to Tokyo to England to
Mm.
Switzerland to America, and all these rappers are phenomenal. So, look alive on that, and you'll hear some really good foreign artists that are not from here. Maybe something that you'll like, maybe something that you don't, but we don't give a fuck if you don't. But Park, I'm talking way too much about myself right now. I want to know. Well, let's start off easy. How's
Yeah.
everything going? How's your day? What's happening right now in your life? What's going on?
Not much. I'm pretty busy, so I'm working full time, and then I'm going back to college for the third time,
Nice.
hoping to actually finish and be done with it.
What are you going
So
to college for?
so now I am going. I'm going for accounting. Yeah. So
You're going for what?
accounting. I'm going
Accounting.
for yeah. Which I never thought I would do, but as I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, I'm good at this, and it doesn't cause me a lot of stress. So,
Well, and plus you get a lot of money
uh,
off of it. It's a really good job
exactly.
to get money.
That's where I was like, I can get a job anywhere, and like, so I'm really excited for that. So in the future, I'm kind of thinking like accountant by day, artist by night was kind of
Wow.
what we're looking at.
That I mean, that's kind of like what I'm doing right now, where it's like artist by day, newspaper thrower by night. But like it's like one of
Yeah,
those things where I never really saw myself like having like a career. I
yeah,
always just saw myself like do this job, do that job, blah blah blah. I never really saw myself like being like a teacher or like a baseball coach or whatever. I don't know what people do. I don't know what
yeah.
real people do. I can't do math. I know that for sure. I cannot do math. So that's off the table. Maybe like a science like a science teacher or like a
Yeah.
or some type of like lab guy. I could do something like that. I know how to dissect frogs.
Hey, They need people that do that to show other people how to do that.
Yeah. Let's see right here. I looked up how much do accountants make annually, and you oh wow, yeah, the annual salary well, like 63K a year, bud.
Yeah, and see, and that's like just enough to like get me what I need and not
Yeah,
struggle, and then not to have too much money to be like an asshole where it doesn't mean anything to me anymore. I'm
yeah.
just like a rich prick. So this,
Everybody's like accountant. That's so boring. But like honestly,
yes,
if like you got something under your belt, like other than doing accounting, it would be a really good day job to just fuck around with, and then just make your own, and then just do what you're doing right now, which is art and stuff. You know?
yeah, honestly, yeah. Even when I hear someone's like an accountant, I'm kind of like, that's like a conversation killer. It's kind of boring. Like, where are you gonna take it from there? You know?
Right, right,
But the appeal to me is like I am good with math. I do like money, so like let me see that income statement. Let me balance that budget,
right,
and I don't feel like I'll be like bringing a lot of stress home with me. Like
right,
I don't want to come home and still think about work. And right now I'm working a job where I'm answering the phone a lot and I'm having like a lot of patients or people in my face. So I'm like trying to reduce, like, I don't want to do any more customer service type jobs.
right, right.
So even though everyone tells me I'm really good at like talking to people, it's not what I enjoy. It's very draining to me. So I'm trying to get out of that area.
Right. Right. I mean, like even like you could probably be an accountant for like an artist, entrepreneur or an artist seller, like an art seller or like an art dealer. I mean, they need
Yeah.
accountants for sure.
Yeah.
You
Pretty
could,
much anyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like you could be a personal accountant for like a big time rich person, or you could be just like an accountant for like in a business, or like you could like I there's so much things that you could do that's an accountant. Maybe you know what? You made accountant sound fun. So you know what? Maybe I am. Maybe I need to be an
Yeah.
accountant.
I sold you on it. Yeah, like, yo, just
Like
do this
damn.
accounting crap during the day, and then we'll do all our creative energy stuff at night.
I'm down. I'm so down. I mean, I'm so used to being up at night because that's my job is during the night and stuff. So
Yeah.
when I woke up today to do the podcast, I was like, "Oh shit, it's 1:15. I gotta get ready before 2." I was like, "There's no fucking way," but I sure did. We got everything set up before 2 o'clock.
Yeah. I was surprised when you told me too that you just woke up because I was like, it's late for me, and he's 2 hours ahead of me, and he's still like getting going.
Speaking of crazy shit, I accidentally sent you the wrong phone. Did you text that phone number?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I was like, I apologize. First, I want to apologize just in case someone does call you, be like, hey, how's it going? You want to
Yeah.
hang out or something? Some weird ass fucking dude, fucking trying to hang out with you and shit.
Oh my god. And then I would have been like, is this real? Like, did I just get scammed? Am I actually going to be on a podcast? Or like some random dude trying to talk to me?
Yeah, my fucking fat ass finger. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll do 805, or I'll do I'll just miss one number out of my phone, and no one will ever reach me. And maybe it's good because a lot of people like to scam and like call me for like car shit. So maybe
Yeah.
I'm skipping through that shit, but at the same time, like I've kind of fucked up a lot of stuff, because of it. But yeah, so everything's good with you. Your life's going all right. You're going to college for the third time already. What stopped you from going, like, or what stopped you the first and second time?
Man, the first time I dropped out of college, I think it was honestly, I was just like, well, looking back now, I didn't know at the time, but I was just like severely depressed. I was
Oh,
leaning into alcohol. Like, I was hanging around with a lot of other college dropouts who were like just drinking their potential away.
right, right,
So, and I think I always thought of like asking for help. I just didn't know who to ask for help or if I needed to go to like a guidance counselor. I just never did it. And then, yeah, the drinking got really bad. I didn't want to go to school. Like I wasn't invested in my classes. And so I needed to like drop out of school and then like start again
right,
or
right.
somewhere. I need to get away is pretty much
Yeah,
um,
Yeah.
And then the same thing with the second round. I had a couple years in between, and then I tried to go to college again, and I just kind of in the same headspace. I was just more depressed than I was willing to acknowledge, and not
Right.
seeking help and not getting help. And so I just dropped out again and just went back to working.
Well, maybe the second time just kind of sounds like a relapse to the first,
Yeah,
where it was like the same scenario, same situation, same feel, same air, going back to school. Oh, I'm gonna drink again. Oh, I'm getting
yeah,
depressed. I mean, a lot of people get in that little loop where it's like they want to do something and then they're not in the right mindset the first time, and then the second time happens and they go right back to it, and then the third time they go right back to it, and the fourth and fifth, and it's like, damn, like you got to break that cycle, because if you don't, then you're just going to end up going doing this thing for a little bit and then ending up being in the same place you were before.
yeah. And that's exact. I didn't change anything, so I don't know why I thought that the second time would be any different. Like I had not done any work on myself. I had no direction still, and I wasn't asking for help. So I don't know what. I just think I didn't know what else to do. And so if I got stuck at my job, I'd be like, well, I need to go back to school because that's like a loose end I never finished.
Right,
And I go
right.
back into it, and I wasn't prepared for it then either.
Well, hopefully this time around, everything's gonna go the way it's supposed to,
Yeah,
and
I'm
I'll
a lot
call
more
you up
confident.
whenever I become big, and
Yeah.
I'll make sure that Park the accountant will help me with my money.
Yes, I could do that. Yep.
So let's because I want to get like, okay. I'm a I'm I'm a fanboy. I told the podcast from the start I'm gonna fanboy. I want to know everything about Park because
Yeah.
you don't. I feel like you don't understand how much of like an inspiration you were to me whenever I was doing my stuff.
Yeah.
Because whenever I found you off the whim. It was weird. Like I was just like, I guess like new. I don't know how like it was back then. I've lost a lot of memory, but um, I found you on Instagram, like whenever you were like barely starting up, like you were just like
Yeah.
homegrown, like out the fucking gutter, with your art and stuff. I was like, this
Mhm.
this chick is fucking badass. So I followed you, and then from there, it kind of started. Like I don't know, I I don't know if you remember this, but I would like every fucking post that you posted. I would do that. I never would do that
Yep.
shit, and then I just like, you know what? I'm a fucking like everything from what she does from the fucking start. And so I did.
Yeah.
I would do that, and then I would miss a few days, and then I would look on your shit. And I'm like, oh fuck, I missed this day and this day, and I would go fucking like it. I fucking love that shit. But I was a fanboy. I was fanboy as fuck for your stuff. I don't know why, but like your art just kind of hooked me, and it just started from there. So like on your side, how was that? Did you even like acknowledge the fact that I was there?
I do remember, yeah, your personal account because you had your name was like duplicated. It was like
Yeah,
Bark.
Brack, yeah.
Yeah. And like I do remember obviously the red beard. So like yeah, because it's iconic. So yeah, like, I remember that. And then I do remember, yeah, you would go on these sprees. Because I would click, yeah, and you would see, yeah, you've just gone through my whole, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. You would just go through and click.
Yeah,
And then yeah, I think I did find you, or we found each other on Instagram fairly early. That was like right after this first time I had dropped out of college and then moved back to like my parents' house
yeah.
and started working again. And I started all that artwork I started doing in their basement. I kind of turned like the basement into like this grungy, like do it yourself little art studio.
Wow.
It didn't have a window or anything like that. So like I don't know, I was still pretty depressed, but
Yeah.
I was pumping out a lot of artwork. And so I do, yeah, you were there, yeah, 2013, 2014
Yeah.
when I
I
started
was
getting on Instagram.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was pretty young. I was still in high school.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I was still in high school. I so 13, 14. I was about to graduate high school.
Oh
And so
damn.
like I don't know what it was. I guess it was because like I was doing my own like art stuff, my music and everything, and I was like maybe I should like try to find other artists or whatever in the in my Instagram, maybe become friends with a few and stuff and all that. Um, but like let's go back a little bit further, Park. So did you always think that did you always know that you were an artist, or how did this come up? Like, how did this become what it is today for you?
I mean, I always kind of liked drawing and stuff in school, like elementary school.
Yeah.
And like, I remember like everyone in my grade, like everyone loved PE. That was like everyone was stoked for PE. Like recess and PE were like awesome. Everyone wanted to do that. And then everyone hated on art class, and we have to go to art like once or twice a week.
Right.
But that was my favorite. And like, I don't know if it was just because like I was already kind of a little bit good at it, but just didn't know it yet. But all my kids hated going, like classmates hated art class. And then I think it was in the third grade, they had us doing these, it was like a fire prevention poster where they would have the kids like design like a fire drill. So they would like map out their house
Yeah.
and then show like their family's escape route. And so we were doing these posters in art class, and like we turn them in, and like we kind of just go about our day. And then we have like an assembly, and the whole school is there. It's still like a fairly small school, but like I guess our posters were like turned in for like some type of competition.
Right.
And so I got third place in like a poster competition that I didn't even know was like happening, and they like called me up in front of the school and like gave me a little plaque and stuff like that. So that was like a kind of a surreal feeling to like, oh, I got recognized for my artwork and I wasn't even really trying.
Right. Right.
So after that, I mean, I always kept like just like a spiral notebook full of just like doodles that I would do. And then in middle school, I think I was on the internet a little bit more. And that's when I started like looking at like graffiti. That was the first time I ever seen like crazy
Oh, right.
graffiti from the city. I live in like a rural area, so we have like some trains come by. I have some railroads and stuff like that, mostly for like wheat and grain. So I would see a little bit of graffiti there when the trains would come through,
Right.
but never like on buildings or like in the street. So when I got on the internet and I was seeing all this street art and graffiti, that's when I started to like, I got to get some Sharpie markers. Like, I got to play with the color waves that they're doing, the way they're doing their letters I've never seen before.
Right.
So I would say about middle school is when I started to get really hooked into it.
So middle school, nice. So like then you started like really getting into the nitty gritty, like maybe like drawing every day. Is basically what was going on? Were you
Yes.
invested at this moment, or were you just doing this on the side? Were you like more like, I'm gonna draw. I know this is cool. I'm just gonna do it for myself, or was it more of like, I'm gonna do this because I know that I could get somewhere with it? At that moment in your life, did you have that like that thought in your head as a child?
No, not yet. So like even middle school stuff and the drawings and things that I was doing, I was very it was I didn't tell anyone about it. I would also keep like a journal. So I just kind of got into writing and then doing artwork within my journal. I kept like a journal from middle school, like all the way up to this day. It's changed a little bit where I don't like write about like, you know, the kid that like knocked my bike over, or anything like that. But like it started with that too. So I would write, and then I would also like all this like, yeah, in my bedroom, like didn't tell anyone about it, like hide my notebook under the mattress and go about my day. So I don't think kids really knew that I liked art or was good at art. In high school, I did one T-shirt design. I think it was like my senior year. Like some of my friends were like, "Hey, we're leaving high school. Like, we should all get matching T-shirts."
Yeah.
And that was the first time I ever took like some Sharpies and got a piece of paper and did like a little design. And then I don't know, I gave it to someone and they took it somewhere and got that image put on a T-shirt. So that was right at the end of high school where I was like, oh, like I like doing that. I'm really good at that. I didn't really start sharing the artwork until I went to college and when I started smoking weed, it really helped my confidence, or like I didn't really give a shit what other people thought. So I was going to share it. So I didn't really start sharing my artwork till right after high school, right when I started going to college.
Oh wow. So so like yeah, you were talking about you still write, so like I forgot you do poetry too.
Yeah, I
You do
was trying to help
poetry.
like
You do poetry
yeah.
with your art and stuff.
Yeah, I was trying to like kind of help the artwork stand out because some people would just like post like a drawing they did with just like a bunch of hashtags. I
Right.
was trying to like either get a little bit of a story or get people to think or feel an emotion with some type of poetry or just random words in the description just to kind of set it apart or to get people to linger for a little bit longer.
Right. Right. At this moment when you're in college. Okay, so let's go back a second because I would like your stuff on Instagram, but
Yeah.
here's the thing. I actually messaged you a one time. I can't remember exactly. You know what? Let me see if it's still there. Let me see if I still have it,
I
honestly.
hope it is. That would be awesome.
On my last, yeah. Let me see if it's still there. Um Dang, it is. It's fucking
Is it?
is. It is. It fucking is. Oh my god. Okay, so this is March 18th, 2015, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what was said um or what, but you messaged me first actually.
Oh, hey,
Yeah, you
good on
messaged
me because
me.
I never did that. That's awesome.
You messaged me first and said surprise me with a smiley face. I
Hmm.
don't know what the fuck that meant. I don't know if like I said I would do something or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But then I messaged back and said, "Hey Park, it's that dude that wanted a piece of your art." And I sent you my address. I trusted you so much.
Dude.
I sent you my fucking address, dude, and everything. And I said I liked your stuff. I like one of your pieces on. I want one of your pieces on my wall. How much do they run for? Hit me up, and I sent you my fucking phone number too. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Um. So yeah, and then we were talking about we were talking about some stuff about like my life and stuff, and then you said, uh, con- uh, and thanks for the amazing words and the support. I'm hoping to start designing a book this summer. So you did. You designed a book. You made a book. You made a book,
I
right?
did.
You made a book.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Um, self-funded and self-published, but could be better that way. Like a do-it-yourself project. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
But I'd like to send you one when and if it happens. And then we just kept on going down the road. We just kept on going
Oh,
down.
hey.
This is the thing that I wanted to talk about. This is the thing I wanted to talk about. We started talking about like what the payment was, you know, and you
Yeah.
said in return, art for art, culture for culture, kind of sort of thing. That's
Yeah.
where that all started. Now, at the time, we were talking about like how we were like my stuff, your stuff, all that stuff. At the time, I was just starting out my music, right?
Yeah.
And I really didn't have anything. I didn't have anything on record. I didn't have anything, set up to where I could send it off to people. Maybe like a hard drive. I didn't have anything to send you. So from 20, this is crazy part because from 2015 all the way to
Yeah.
now, the thought of giving you something that I was producing was in my head 24/7. I was like, I gotta do it for Park. I gotta do this music shit
Yeah.
for Park. I gotta send her something. I gotta send her I gotta show her what I'm doing because I always had that in the back of my head because you said art for art and you sent me.
Yep.
I'm not shitting you, Park. I have these old ass pieces that you sent me. It's a I'll send you the picture. It's a lion and a tree with a face on it. It's on my side of the bed, literally on my side of the bed, and
Dude.
I have them on my wall and stuff.
Dude.
And every time I would look at them, I'm like, I gotta send something to Park. I gotta do it. And you know what? She probably doesn't even remember me. She probably doesn't even fucking know. But it was kind of like you kind of inspired me to like push forward to actually get this shit done. And it took
Yeah.
fucking 6 years. It took fucking 6 years, but I did it. And here you are, you
Yeah.
know, you're on the fucking podcast. You see what I'm doing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? This is the gift that I'm giving Park.
Yes.
Finally, a voice on my podcast, and here she is. And I just want everybody to know that like we had like a little bit of a story, and then we kind of like faded off. It kind of faded off. My life got
Mhm.
all crazy. Your life got all crazy, and we weren't
Mhm.
able to talk to each other. And I was like, you know what? I'm starting all this, my music, my podcast. I was like, I'm going to see if Park will actually message me on my art page, on my music page.
Yeah.
And sure the fuck you did. And you fucking did
Yeah.
it. And here we are right
Yeah.
now.
That's crazy. It comes like full circle.
Yeah.
Like 7 years later, it comes full circle. Like that's wild,
But
dude.
yeah, it's a crazy road. And you know, I've always thought of you as a friend because you were there for like you were there for some cool stuff. I know that you were just message here and there, but I always thought of you as a friend. And you know, I'm glad that we have this opportunity together to actually talk, you know, one to one. It's
Yeah.
sad that we can't be face to face, but you know, with the
Yeah.
circumstances, you're all the way over there. Where do you live?
I'm like in Washington. I'm like in Eastern Washington right
Yeah,
now.
where it rains all
Yeah.
the fucking time.
Yeah. I'm kind of on the boring side of the state. I'd like to go to the coast side of the state. That's
Right,
the end
right.
goal.
Well, I live in the boring side of fucking Texas too. There ain't nothing here. It's all dry
All
and flat, and there's cows and rattlesnakes, but there ain't
right.
shit over here,
It
you
kind
know.
of, yeah, sounds, well, we have a little bit of some hills, but about the same. It's about the same over here.
So going back, you made a book.
Yeah.
You made a book.
Oh my gosh.
So was that your first
Did
ever
I?
like big project?
Yeah, I was kind of, I had gotten a hold, so now Instagram is kind of moving
Right,
forward where like now I'm seeing some other like indie artists have some success, especially the poetry side of Instagram. I'm seeing some of them like put books out and they're
right,
just writers. And then I think I purchased a couple of them and I was kind of upset or I was kind of like not impressed for what I paid for and the amount of followings that they had and
right,
like the fact they were making money. I had done the same thing with an artist that I followed and he kind of became big on YouTube and Instagram and he also put a book out. And these books were like, you could do them on Amazon. You could like put these books together yourself and have Amazon publish and distribute them.
Oh wow.
So I looked into that and it was very tedious. But yeah, I honestly think I ate some acid and finally like put the book together.
Right.
And it's weird because I'm like really proud of it, but I'm also a little bit embarrassed about it too. It's like a weird, yeah,
Why
like
are you embarrassed about it?
just because some of my writing, like my grammar isn't always the best, and I'm really like an informal writer. And so like there definitely is like a typo or two in there. And like some of the pieces that I picked were a little cringy, you know. I liked the artwork that was in there, and I'm glad that like it was in color. Some of the writing is good. There's no real like plot or theme to it, which is kind of what I was going for, but I'm not always sure if it's the best thing. It's a little like haphazard, but I don't know. I am glad that I did it. I am like, but I don't know if it's something that I would like put on a portfolio or anything like that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, but like that's like your beginning. That was like your beginning and everything.
Yeah, like it was good experience and I'm glad I did it and now I know how to do it as to someone that would just think of doing it and never follow through.
Yeah, yeah.
Did I ever send you a book? Like have you seen it?
No, I never
Oh,
saw it. I never saw that thing.
I should I think I still have a couple extra copies because I just wanted them for me. I actually ended up have you heard of those they're like little free libraries that people like put in their yard?
Yeah. Those
Yeah.
little like take a book, you know, leave a book, take a book type things.
Yeah, so I actually like went around, like I went into the city because I'd always lived like outside of the city. I went into Spokane and I went around to people's like their little little book stands that they would build in their yard, and I like dropped a couple books off, like those randomly, and then just like didn't think about it. And then a couple years later, I actually have someone on Instagram message me because I had left a book in her grandma's little free library,
Yeah.
and her grandma had taken it out and was going to put it in the recycling bin because I talked about drugs. I think I had a picture of like a pipe in there. And so her grandma was just like, not about me having, that book being in her little library thing outside her house.
Yeah.
And her granddaughter like was going through her recycling and saw my book, actually followed me on Instagram, and then messaged me. And she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna keep your book. Like my grandma almost like threw it in the recycling because you like talked about weed in this book and she didn't approve of that." And so like that was kind of another like situation that came full circle. This was like years later. I had forgot I'd even done that, and then this person found my book, happened to follow me already, and then messaged me. And I was like, dude, it's just kind of crazy when you put things out into the world. What happens?
Right. Right. That is wild. And you know, it's just crazy because like you're trying to get out there and everything, and it was kind of like, was that your first taste of like criticism? Is that your first taste of like, oh, people actually might not like my stuff?
A little. I had a couple people like leave like odd comments like on some posts and
Yeah.
stuff. I had one person kind of chew me out because I had taken a, which is weird because I had taken a picture. It had rained really bad around here, and like there was this house that was just like the lawn around it was just flooded, and it was just like a wheat field, and it was just flooded all around them. And I had taken a picture of the house, but I had taken the picture of the house like I was on a public road and took a picture of the house and then posted it and like did like a little word piece underneath it. And then they had messaged me and they got all pissed off that like I was trespassing. It says like private property and like to not do that. And like we had a little bit of a back and forth. It would have been different if they would just approach me like, hey, that's like so and so's house. That's my
Right.
family member's house. Let's like take it down. But instead they're like chewing me out and calling me like I was trespassing and stuff. And I was like, I was on a public road. Like I did not get off the road. I took it from my vehicle. Like calm down. But honestly, I haven't had a lot of people come at me like aggressively or be negative about it.
Good. Well, that's really
Yeah.
good. That's really really awesome.
But I
Especially.
think I don't really try to push buttons in that way yet. I feel like I play it pretty safe. I don't try to like touch on too many like controversial topics.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like your stuff is kind of like mental. It's like your mental health
Mhm.
and pretty much like
Mhm.
feelings and emotions. And I've read some of your poetry, and like I said, I don't have the book, but I've read some of your poetry, and it's really detailed in like But I mean, like, is every I don't know if every poet is like that, but isn't like every poet like mental health and
Mhm.
emotions and sadness and anger and happiness and how you feel on a piece of paper. You're that that gift is like you're putting in people's emotions. You're putting your own emotions on a piece of paper, and people don't understand how much that how hard that is sometimes, especially when you're going through your own stuff. You're going
Yeah.
through like you said, your whole college life and what it was causing you to do, and but you were still pushing this art out, and those pieces had some type of feel to them or emotion, or the poetry had some type of real realization to your own self about like what's going on in your life. And people don't understand that. People don't grasp it. They like to interpret to where they how they feel, but in reality the artist has the feeling. It's just
Mhm.
they don't interpret it the way you wanted them to. So you have to in turn the other person has to feel it a different way. It's a
Yeah.
crazy science how artists
Mhm.
deal with their emotions and feelings. But I mean, that's what was going on, right?
Yeah. I did get some, yeah, people saying things like I was very blunt or very to the point of like what I was feeling. Sometimes I would get it really, really just kind of I don't know if it's like just being a little harsh or just not really beating around the bush, but yeah, for a lot of it, it was, yeah, like, let me express what is going on with me. And then I know it will resonate with some people. It won't resonate with everyone, but it
Right,
will connect with some people. And those are the people I want to connect with.
right, right. Well, Park, we're going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to call you
All
right
right.
back. I'm going to do a little bit of some ads and stuff, and then we'll get right back into it, okay?
All right. Sounds good.
All right, all right. See you in a minute.
Bye.
Bye.
Fingers run through my hair. Thought I could go anywhere without your voice in my head. Can't believe what I said, and it's been years. Shouldn't feel so ashamed. Shouldn't have given myself away. The scene replays again in my imagination, and I can't escape. This memory again, again, again. This memory again, again, again. As summer nights drew near, receiver pressed to my ear. With lullabies I pulled aside, I couldn't listen. Don't wanna give in. No amount of well-built could stop this feature film. Like a cold addiction, I can't escape. This memory again, again, again. This memory again, again, again.
All right, we're back. Took a little longer break than I thought, but we're straight. Everything's all right. Um, Refresh my memory, Park. What we were talking about, we were talking about criticism.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I haven't gotten a lot of pushback.
Right, right. Well, that's good, especially and we're gonna touch bases on that because that's something I wanted to talk to you about today. Was your I don't want it to sound negative because it's definitely not. But you have a ritual. I'm gonna say it's a ritual, but you probably have a different word for it because since I started following you and watching your routines about making art and stuff, you have incorporated a lot of marijuana use in your art.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
and it's not a negative thing, and people on here understand that we are marijuana friendly and weed friendly and stuff here. We're green, but that is a thing that you use on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it for art, or was it for like just your life? How did that go about? Did you figure out that uh, marijuana actually helped you with your art, or was it something that just kind of you started doing and also doing art, or how does that work?
Um, yeah, I feel like I came across, it was weird because marijuana was like around me in high school, but I just never participated. And then after high school, kind of when I wasn't really enjoying my time at college or knowing what I was doing, that's the first time I'd ever actually like, all right, let me smoke.
Right.
And then I feel like smoking weed helped me not be so like self-critical or self-deprecating about my artwork. It kind of was like the gateway for me to share and to
Oh,
do more.
right.
So like
Okay.
everything was really private with my art, and then I started smoking weed, and then I know like stoners love to look at cool shit, and like I have a lot of cool shit to share. So that was like definitely my target audience in the beginning because they were so open to it and like positive and receptive to the artwork. So I feel like without weed, I don't think I would have shared as much or produced as much.
Right, right. And you incorporated smoking and stuff in your daily base in your daily routines on Instagram and stuff, but also in your art as well. Um, is it more is it a ritualistic thing for you? Is it you smoke and you say I'm gonna get this done, or is it just like one of those things where it's like I'll smoke and I might get something done, or you know what I'm saying? Is it more of like
Yeah.
do you have like a routine when it comes to like art and your in your life? Because those are two different things. Your life is a completely different thing than
Mhm.
your art and stuff. Whenever in your day to day, do you set time to do these things? You know.
Yeah. So in the beginning, when I first started smoking weed, when I would smoke, I would have to be productive just because there was a lot of like stigma around like stoners are lazy around that time. And like, if you smoke, you're just like gonna hang out on the couch all day. And like, nowadays we know there's a bunch of productive stoners, so that doesn't
Right.
really
Right.
apply. But when I started, I was like, if I smoke, I need to do something productive or creative. So in the beginning, yeah, I would definitely lean on if I smoke, I'm gonna do art. There is no like smoking and hanging out and just chilling.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
as I got older and stuff, then so smoking was also like a social thing too. Like we would
Right.
just go and hang out, talk, make food, or just like, and it would also like take me to different locations. If people are like, I'm gonna roll a joint and we're gonna go on a hike and we're gonna smoke this like by the river. So like,
Right.
it started to like come kind of so first it was for the art, and then after that it was like a lot of socializing, and then now I don't really think I make art without smoking. I might like doodle at work, mindlessly, but I really will either, yeah, I can't really think of a time where I don't smoke and draw or smoke and design something or smoke and write.
Right. Right.
It
Um.
definitely, I love the ritual. I think it sets the tone too. I've gotten better about it now. Where I like to have like, I'll also smoke and I have like some light projectors that I like to play with when I draw too.
Yeah.
So now it's become more about like, I'm going to set the atmosphere and then I'm going to make the artwork,
Right.
which I know music is like that too, where they like to like
Yeah. Definitely.
set the lights. Yeah.
A
Light
hundred
some
percent.
candles.
A hundred
Yeah.
percent. You can't have your area the way all cluttered up and stuff. You got some people like it best. Some people like
Yep.
the chaos and everything, but some people like to take the time to make it look nice and neat, and make sure that the tone is set right, and the mood and the vibe, and like you said, the lights and everything, and all that good stuff. Be 100% accurate to what they're trying to perceive, because if you don't have those things, then sometimes it doesn't come out. I'm not gonna say it doesn't. It always does that, but like on a good day, if you're feeling yourself and you're feeling everything around you, then it'll definitely show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, like, like you do like psychedelics, or like do you do any other things that kind of awaken that creative mindset, or like kind of awaken like the artistic ability to where you make something brand new?
Oh yeah, I love psychedelics. Yes. Uh, Anytime I've come across psychedelics and gotten to do artwork, I feel like I've made like major growth in like uh, yeah, that was kind of psychedelics is kind of how I fell in love with painting.
Oh
So like
wow.
before then, like weed and stuff, I was still like, using a lot of Sharpies and just like drawing. But when I got a hold of my first run in with like LSD, it was more of a social setting. So like I was like outside. Um, there was a lot of like, I don't know if they like to be called hippies or what, but they were like doing the like where they spin the hula hoops with the LED lights and stuff in them.
Oh yeah. What are they
Um,
called, babe? Those people that what what's his name does the where he spins around and hula hoops and stuff.
yeah,
Poing
sometimes
around. Poi. That's what they call it.
yeah.
Poi.
So I've seen the hula hoopers, and then I've seen where they'll light the balls and swing those around
Yeah.
that are crazy.
Yeah.
So that was like my first run in with LSD, and then when I moved back home and I got a couple tabs, and I remember it was like springtime, and I brought like all my canvases out into like my parents' backyard, and I like poured paint and dripped paint a lot. And then ever since then, yeah, I think LSD or like sometimes when I get a hold of mushrooms and painting, that's where that came along and like a lot
Right.
of growth in that area.
Right. Well,
Um,
let's go back into a little bit of some history of Park. You, whenever I started looking at your art, you have a style. I don't know if
mhm,
obviously you know what your style is, but you in my sense, you have a style where the lines are detailed. They're very there for a reason. You do a lot of nature. You do a lot of the sky, the
mhm,
moon. You do a lot of
mhm.
like abandonment, like houses and
Yeah.
these scenes that are like they're there, but for what you have done in the past, it's very like just a line work. It's not the colors. It's not the sky looking a certain color. It's not the house looking a certain color. It's just those lines, and it's a black canvas or a white canvas or whatever, and those pin details of the lines of the houses and the sky and the moon and the sun and whatever you put the trees and
Yeah.
the ground. Those line works are very detailed. Did you did you did you always have that art set to where it's like I'm gonna do this like this, or did it come and you're like I actually like this right here what I'm doing?
It kind of came like I guess naturally from like when I would just mindlessly doodle. Like I liked the way my hand liked to make those repetitive line marks,
Yeah.
whether they were straight and I would just like three or four like right next to each other, or if I would stagger them, that would kind of give a different like visual impression. Or if I would curve them, if I curve them in the middle, I would do three curves in a row. It kind of I was really into like kind of like optical illusions for a little bit too, where it's the
Right.
same length of line, but one looks shorter than the other due to like where it's placed or what's going on around it. Um, and I think psychedelics also played into that with like visual. Yeah, your perception gets warped a little bit. And you're like, is it coming at me? Is it
Actually,
going
yeah, you're right.
away?
There's a lot of
Yeah.
pieces that I see in my head where like you use black in one spot and like in the same like design sequence it's like light where it's like either like the paper or whatever it's just white and then black and white and it kind of gives an optical illusion of what everything
Hmm.
around it is.
Which is what I like. So those are like visual elements that I'm attracted to. So then when I can kind of duplicate them or like manipulate them in my own way.
Wow.
For a while with a lot of the nature things, I like to think of like so like I could do a normal like a scenery of nature, but if
Right.
I did it like on psychedelics, it would be like if nature was on psychedelics. This is what it would look like. Like
Okay.
if I got to be the landscaper and I'm on drugs, how would I make the landscape look?
Right.
So kind of, I don't know. Yeah, like if I was kind of Mother Nature on drugs,
Yeah.
and I got to create the space. So a lot of it I would play with that.
So here's another thing too. I feel like I'm like fucking just making your head all big, but I love your stuff, and everybody that's on here will, or everybody that listens will definitely go and look at your stuff. But
Yeah.
um, for some reason, like I look at your art, and to be honest, Park, I haven't seen anybody like it. I haven't seen anybody like you do that. What you do, you know. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that there is copycatters in art, but I can say that there are types of artists that do certain things that fit that criteria. But you, Park, it's a different world.
Yeah.
I've seen pieces that you've done where I like feel like I'm in there, and then there's other times where I feel like I'm in a fucking dream, or like I feel like it's like a whimsical mystery wonderland, because
Yeah.
your pieces have so much vastness. It's like one thing in this one piece, and then it has a world of just there. Like, I don't know if you know what I'm saying. I know it sounds
Yeah.
like fucking crazy, but it's like you have like a house, and then you have
Yeah.
like a light pole, and then you have the sky. But like you have like the sun or the moon, but nothing else. And it
Yeah.
creates this weird what's that term that I'm trying to say? It's a weird vastness of like opportunity, of
Hmm.
like this is here, but there also could be more. And then
Hmm.
you could put like your poetry, you'll have some type of saying, and it makes it even deeper. And like,
Hmm.
so if you were to call yourself anything, if you were to call your art some type of genre or some type of name, what do you think you do? Like, what would it be to you?
Oh man. Because I kind of like to dabble. I mean, I kind of, what's good. Everything you're saying is good because it's kind of coming across because I do like to play with like, there's like an infinite feeling to it where it could go on forever. And
Right.
there's also kind of like a small like feeling where it's like, is this very like microscopic? Are we zoomed in? I'll kind of play with like abstract elements of like space or nature. I'll kind of like tie in those two together.
Right.
Um,
Like
it's really hard.
Like let's take that because I pulled up your Instagram, so I wanted to have an example.
Yeah.
Let's take the panda picture that you had. It was about January 11th that you posted this
Yep.
one. It has some abstract little squares on each side of the piece, and then it has the bamboo, I'm guessing, in the background, and
Hmm.
then a panda face right there in the front. And then you kind of do like some whimsical like star designs and like
Yeah.
loops, and that's what I'm talking about. You have this piece
Yeah.
right here up front in your face. You have these abstract squares on each side. You have the bamboo and then the panda, which definitely brings a perception to where the panda's
Hmm.
up front and then everything's in the background, especially the abstract pieces and the four corners. But then you have the black, and then you have the
Hmm.
stars. That right there,
Hmm.
those absent places in that piece gives me a feeling of there's more out there in this piece.
Hmm.
There's more out there in this art that you have created, which is crazy because I've never felt that in a piece where I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's something behind this. There's something behind this piece that she had created. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. God, they're kind of just like little, I guess if I had to put a name on it, it would be, I was using the hashtag like tripscapes a lot. So like it
Yeah.
would be like you're tripping, but there is a landscape or an element going on. This one was just fun because I had a focal point. The panda head is the focal point, but yeah, your eye kind of wanders across the page.
Right.
And I do like, I've been kind of really getting into mushrooms lately, but there's like like a connectiveness even with the dots and like do they represent stars or these other like molecules going on? Are these like
Right.
continuing lines? Does this continue on to something else? Is it connected? Yeah, to another piece. What's behind the panda head, like and the bamboo? Like, is there another universe behind there? So I do like to play with like, yeah, a lot of imagination, space, um, these like, yeah, abstract patterns. Um, Mostly I'll do landscapes and nature. I do
Right.
some animals here and there with the panda head. Yeah, the panda, I just wanted this really like fun focal point of like sometimes it's not obvious what my drawing is, but this is like obviously a panda head.
Right.
Um,
Let's
and
talk
then
about the landscapes. So, like you said, you do landscapes. We're gonna go to uh, February 7th of 2021. It is like a shed or a house on top of a mountain, where it kind of looks like these are trees, maybe they're cactuses, and then a moon.
I have mine pulled up too. Let me see.
It's like in the middle of the. It's in the middle of the. They look very comic, cartoonish. Maybe it's like right in the middle, the very middle of those.
Is it a black and white one or
Yes,
the colors?
yeah.
Black and white.
Here, I'll send you a screenshot of the one that I'm talking about so that you can see it. That way, we're not like lagging on space
Let me
on
just yeah eat all this
the.
time looking for something. I'm sure I know what you're talking about though.
But that's another thing too, is like these pieces that you have drawn out on just paper, black and white pen,
Hmm.
and shading. These are very, how can, I don't even know how to explain it, like Calvin and Hobbes esque. When when
Yes.
when Calvin and Hobbes would make like an imagination to the child's eye, where he was in space or dinosaurs, these these pieces have that type of feeling. I see them, and it's like this vastness of like imagination or nostalgia. It's a very weird feeling
Hmm.
that you make in these pieces.
Yeah, I feel like you're yeah, I'm glad that we spoke because sometimes I don't know if people always get it. I do push for like a nostalgia feeling. I do want yeah, like almost like childlike wonderment
Right,
or yeah, which we lose as adults. And I feel like sometimes psychedelics can kind of help us get that back where we look at the world again, something familiar but different. And yeah, we still have our imaginations would kind of get lost or get kind of not so vibrant as they once were.
right.
Um, and I listen to like a lot of lo-fi music, which also has a lot of nostalgia feel.
That's
So I'm
true.
glad that's coming through too. Yeah.
A lot of lo-fi, chill hip hop to chill and relax
Yeah. And
to
then, yeah,
chill
I
and draw
have these
to.
like, yep. And then those are kind of on a loop. And sometimes I find my artwork, sometimes the pattern will be looped or a shape will be looped repeatedly. So it does kind of give like a, I don't know, because I feel like the brain is naturally drawn to patterns. And sometimes you
Right,
can keep the pattern or you can break the pattern and kind of like disturb the image or the brain a little bit and like make it pay a little bit more
right,
attention. But
right. Well,
loops and patterns,
we talk about the mountain that the house is on, because it's going to be right
yeah.
here. It's going to be on. People are going to be able to see it. But
Okay, cool.
the mountain that the house is on is literally, you could see the depth of the mountain. You can see the depth of it, and it's all just similar lines and similar
Hmm.
circles. And then you have like one piece where it goes horizontal, and then one piece that goes vertical, and that brings out the perception of that
Hmm.
hill. And as like if you look at it, you could see in a lame eye. I don't know how to explain it, but in a lame eye, you can say, "Oh, that's just a mountain." But
Hmm.
for an artist, you can actually see the chaos in the perception of this mountain, to where it's like, oh, okay, so it's a cliff, and then it goes down a little bit, and then there's like a little
Hmm.
hill part where you can probably like climb on, and then walk down, and then it's just really really different, Park, and people
Yeah.
see that. I want you to understand that people, if I see it, I'm dumb as fuck. If I see it, then there has to be some type of artist that says, this actually has depth and perception,
Hmm.
and it's something. It has created this vastness of imagination and an opportunity for the artist eye to see.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it is really fun because, like, the mountain, it's a mountain, and then, yeah, with the lines, you do create, like, some depth or some, like, yeah, so, like, this is a hill, I could climb on it, like you were mentioning. But I don't really follow the rules because, like, technically, like, if this was a ledge, it should probably be shaded this way, or,
Right,
like, the line
right,
could go this way. But I have, like, swirling, a little bit chaos where I know how to make it look defined, but I'll like break the rules because I kind of get bored. So I'm like, let's, like, how would the mountainside look like if I had warped my perception
right,
of it? So it's a little bit there, and then it kind of breaks the rules of like, well, if this was a downward slope and the light was hitting it this way, then the shade should go this way. But I'm not going to make it that way because this is my little loopy landscape where maybe the light hits it this way and it bends and it never goes the way that we are used to seeing, or the laws that we abide by in
right.
our reality. So it is fun to play. And sometimes it looks flat and maybe you perceive it as flat, or the more you look at it, maybe you're like, all right, yeah, there's multiple cliffs on this one cliff side.
Right, 100%. Um, I also want to bring up one more piece.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because it was something that I was going to talk about, and it kind of just faded off because I wanted to make sure that I had an actual description of what I was saying. We're going to go to the piece where the moon is shining on a minivan in, I guess, a forest or a
Oh,
plain of some
oh,
sort. There are some
okay.
trees there. You have this talent of bringing light to the darkness. I don't know if you are aware of that or not, but there
Yes.
have been pieces in the past where I've seen where you have done this, and this is a really good description of what I'm saying because there is color in it.
Mm-hmm.
You've done it with just a black and white, but this one has color in it. Um, where the minivan is parked next to a tree. It's probably like a little, like maybe up on a cliff, or maybe it's in a little plain forest where you can probably like camp out or have a picnic or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a moon, and the moon itself is shining down
Mm-hmm.
onto this little plane that you have created for the minivan and stuff. That is literally insane to me. How do you even do that to something? Like, how do you create where it looks like light is shining down, like maybe like a what are they called, the northern lights? It looks like the northern
Mm-hmm.
lights to me, and it's shining down to this minivan. How does that even work?
Honestly, it's just a lot of like, yeah, smoking weed, sometimes eating some psychedelics, and then just like playing around with the tools. Like a lot of my stuff, I have like really cheap tools. I use a very cheap, like this one's a digital one, and I use like the whole program's like $20. It's very like basic and very fun to play with. And so like I'll just like consume these consume these drugs and then play around with the tools that I'm given, and
Yeah,
then hope that it's visually appealing to me. And sometimes, yeah, I like to have like a potentially like a story or a scene, like this is a snapshot of an event or a feeling. Honestly, yeah, it's just kind of just playing around with it until it feels or looks like something that's appealing to me, and then I think other people would enjoy as well.
right. Because it looks like the moon is actually melting onto the
Mm-hmm.
landscape. It's like kind of like giving this energy light to whoever is involved in this picture. Um, I was also going to ask, most of these landscapes are very detailed, into the point, like the color of the van, the trees, the placement of the trees, the moon, the way the moon looks and stuff. Are these
Mm-hmm.
actual events, or are these just ideas in your head?
So sometimes I'll kind of mix. I'll take like bits and pieces from like if I've gone to a camping trip, or if I saw someone's van that I liked, and then like me and my friends, we would We live in kind of, well, I did live in like a small town where there wasn't a lot to do. So a lot of the times we would just get in somebody's car, smoke a bunch of weed, and drive a bunch of back roads.
Right.
So we would come across kind of these rural places that they felt magical, especially if we were like, we would drive to like a small riverbed and like eat acid and just hang out there and then go back like when the sun came up. So it's kind of like things that I've done with my friends, but it's not a specific scene.
Right. Okay. All right. So that gives interpretation to the audience, I guess you could say,
Hmm.
because it might even be interpretation to you.
Yeah. So this one, like this van one, is more of almost kind of like a, because I also used to work night shift, like graveyards for 5 years. So like me and the moon like hung out a
Oh
lot.
wow. Yeah.
And so, like, I was a night creature for a really long time. And so, when I would do psychedelics and stuff, I would like to wander outside, typically like my backyard, or if I was at someone else's house, or even I would just like smoke weed and look out the my window, and I'd have a pretty good view of the moon. And I was just up all the time. So, I just kind of started, you start to like romanticize the moon, and the moon has an energy, and I'm on drugs, and I feel like this one is like the moon is almost, yeah, enlightening something,
Right.
enlightening typically a feeling or experience or a sense. Um, and then the nature is just because, like, yeah, I just kind of grew up outside of the city. So, like, a lot of the nature and sky stuff I get from just like being around it or being in it.
Right. Right. There is one more question that I will ask that is in depth of your art, and this is something that this is something that I came across just looking at your stuff. Um, and maybe you have an answer, maybe you don't.
Uh,
Multiple times in every piece that I see, whether it be up on a hill or on a plain or a flat or in between some trees or just hanging out in the background, there is a repetitive little house that shows up every once in a while.
yeah,
Does that
yeah.
mean something? Or is it just out of coincidence that I have made a conspiracy about a house being in every park art?
I feel like the house kind of Uh, it's kind of like a connection to home, kind of like I never really felt at home anywhere that I was. And so I
Yeah,
think I was constantly like looking for like what would my home be or where would I want my home to be. I was also, even as like a small child, I was kind of obsessed with like abandoned buildings and abandoned structures that these buildings were like man-made and then they were left or forgotten about, and then now nature has kind of taken over the environment, so there's kind of like a struggle between something that's man-made and then like something organic or nature coming in
right,
and either it living together or kind of battling it out. So I was always drawn to like these abandoned buildings or houses or barns that I would see kind of where I lived. And I like wanted to know what the story was. Somebody made that building. It was there for a purpose. People either lived in it or whatever. And then something happened. And then it was abandoned, whether they died or moved away. So whenever there's like a house structure, it's either, yeah, I feel like it could go into like, this is maybe where I want to live, like, or a place I'd want to visit, or somewhere I would like to create art,
right,
or what's the story behind the building? Like, who used to live there? How long did they live there? What happened? They're no longer there. Like, so I think it's just for me trying to like create a story or create someone to be curious about what is up with this house.
right, right. Wow. That can even be interpreted even into there's a house in this art that you have created psychedelically, you know?
Hmm.
You're creating this vastness of imagination, and there is depth in between in this place. But that one house there in the middle,
Hmm.
or up on the mountain, or
Hmm.
right in front of your face, it's like, hey, this is home. You could be here,
Hmm. Hmm.
adventure out, adventure, do all the crazy
Hmm.
stuff, do all the silly things that you do as a human being. But this right here is your home. This is your place,
Hmm.
whether it be run down or whether it be a two-story house or a skyscraper or whatever. It doesn't matter. This is the place that you feel that you can regroup, gather all your feelings, gather all the stuff that you have, and then go back out like
Mm-hmm.
some R&R, you know?
Yeah, it's like a home base. Like
Yeah,
there's a lot of things to explore outside here, but you can always come back here and you can make it what you want. Yeah, it could be run down, it has a lot of potential, or it could be the nicest place ever, and that could be your haven, your sanctuary, yeah, your home base where you can regroup
right,
and then go
right.
back out and explore.
Oh man, 100%. That's fascinating. That's fascinating. You know, I'm not a crazy artist. I don't I can barely draw worth a fuck, but it's I love getting deep into things like this. I've always been around artists my whole
Hmm.
life. You know, I was a drummer since I was 6 years old and doing music and stuff, and then all my friends became, you know, either musicians or artists, and I've always been around it. And you know, people are like, you go too deep into stuff. I'm like, but that's the point. All
Hmm.
of this stuff
Hmm.
that we do, like all the art that is out there, like they want people to under like look at the crazy shit, like why, you know, why is this tree always here? Why is that rabbit jumping? Or why is the
Hmm.
the sky green instead of blue? Or there's always a story behind some type of fucking minivan, or you know,
Yeah.
some type of field or something, you know. I'm that person to be like, I want to know the story behind this piece. I can interpret it the way I want to. I could feel
Hmm.
happy or depressed or sad or mourning for somebody in a piece, but I want to know what the person that created this feels like. I want to know what the person that did this piece to make me feel this way, what they
Hmm.
were going through, how they felt.
Hmm.
You know, how long it took for this piece, which is another question. How long does it take you to do these certain pieces? Like, is it one of those things where sometimes you get done in a day or 30 minutes, or is it like one of those things where you sit there and you think about what it is?
Um, I mm, I usually like to do pieces that take a lot of time, like a lot of hours. Typically, I don't get done in one session. I mean, if I get to have like do nothing and just like trip all day and I get to go like 8 or 10 hours, then I might have a finished piece by the end of that. But typically mine, yeah, take a lot of time. But I'll also work on several pieces at once. Like I'll have 3 or 4 pieces of paper in front of me
Yeah.
and I'll do a little bit here until I get stuck. And then if I get stuck on that one, then I'll put it aside just because I like to work. Yeah, I'm kind of multitask. I like to continue the flow. I don't like to get stuck and put it away. Like I
Right.
may set it aside, but I'm going to do something else. It's hard for me to like when you get like a creative block and they're like, go take a walk or go take a shower. It's really hard for me to step away.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so a lot of my stuff will take several hours or a couple days, especially if I'm not trying to rush it. I like that end when the piece is finished and I get that gratification that it's done and it looks great and I get to like enjoy it a little bit. But
Yeah.
sometimes if I rush it to that end point, then it doesn't turn out the quality that I want it to. But yeah, I'm usually working on several things at a time, and all long art sessions are ideal for me.
Right. Well, that's good. Um, that goes into like, you know, when it comes into like commissions and like your you know, because obviously every artist wants to make money or have a livelihood for what they do, and that's even like with my stuff, like, you know, the
Yeah.
podcast and the rapping and the music and stuff. Like, I definitely want to make a livelihood for this. You know, is that something that you struggle with when it comes to, like, you know, making this piece? Because it's different. You know, I don't want to get too personal, but you know, there's a difference between um, making art for yourself and then making commission work for somebody else. You know,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
so when it comes to like making commission work for somebody else, has it been pretty easy for you, or has it been kind of like difficult to even create whenever it comes to somebody else's idea of what they want, or how does that work in your life?
Yeah, I would say I definitely I struggle. Just because the artwork I originally it was so personal to me. You know, it was like a visual journal
Yeah.
in the beginning when I started my Instagram. And then it depends too on like who you're working with. Like if you guys already vibe and they kind of already know what they want and they can explain it into a way that you can like digest and they let you kind of do what you're good at, but also give you feedback. So if they want you to make changes, like let me know you want to make changes and I can do those, or tell you like that's not something I can do. Um, some people, I think the trick is too, is when they already have a very specific thing in their head and they want you to do it, but they're unable to tell you or give you references. I think that's where I get stuck the most. It's like,
Oh,
it's
okay.
easiest for me if you have visual references where you're like, this is what I like. And like, where you can, do it in your own style or like, give me a couple references.
Right.
And then right off the bat, I can tell you like, that's not something I can do. Or like, this is going to take a lot of time. Or like, but when somebody comes to you with a completely blank slate but they don't want you just to go about it how you normally would, that's where I'm like, I don't think this is going to work. Like, you want something in your head, you can't describe it to me accurately, and you don't have any references for me to go off of.
Right.
That's something where I feel like I'm going to have to re-edit several times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
100%.
then I get, because I love getting commissions because you're right, we want to get paid, for our work. But then sometimes I get wrapped into like, I just want to finish this because I just want to get that money versus like, if
Right.
I'm working on a personal piece, I'm going to take forever so it turns out right.
Right. 100%. The
Yeah.
um going back to like, when people give you like I want this and they don't have any way to show you specifically how they want it. Has there ever been a disgruntled customer where it's like it got pretty heated, or do you have problems with people being like, you know, just rude, outright rude about what you're trying to
Yeah.
do with what their idea is,
Yeah, I'm usually pretty good about not linking up with those people. It's usually people that want stuff for free. And in the beginning, I had a problem with even pricing my art with, I was undercutting myself or like it
Right,
was, my prices were too cheap for what I was doing, or I was doing a lot of stuff for free. And then those people that I was doing free work for would then get picky. And I'm like, listen, like, I'm not
yeah,
going to
come on,
re-edit this a bunch of times because you're not even paying me. So there's small things like that, but mostly I've gotten really lucky of like I won't take a commission on that I kind of get that this person's kind of not going to follow through or don't know what they want or they're
right,
not serious about it. And then other times when I've done commissions, I've kind of done the trade thing too, which I haven't done in a while, where I'm like, I'll do like, what products do you have? Or like,
right,
I've traded for weed before, where I'm like, hey, you're growing, you work for a company, I'll provide you with artwork, and you give me like some samples and stuff,
oh, 100
which
percent,
I almost like better. And I almost like that better than like, let me put a price, you know what I mean? Let me collect
yeah,
on some money. I kind of like to barter more if that's possible.
right, right. Which I feel like you said you didn't like politics, but I feel like that's I think we need to do the whole barter thing here pretty soon. It's a
Hmm.
whole bunch of craziness with the whole money thing and everything. Everything's so
Yeah.
expensive, and even like that too. Like if I do something for somebody and they help me survive this world, like
Hmm.
hey, like just give me like $20 so I can get something to eat, or like
Hmm.
trade me something of yours that actually might benefit my life or whatever. I'm 100% down to do
Hmm.
that. And that's even like with the podcast too. Like I'm not making money off of this thing. I'm doing it because I solely love it, and I solely just want to
Hmm.
talk to people and be social about it, and give entertainment to the world. And
Hmm.
one day for sure, I'm gonna get paid for this. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things where somebody's like, "Hey, dude, can I get on your podcast?" And I'm like, and for some odd reason, I'm charging to be on my podcast, and he says, "Hey, I'll give you stage time." 100% I'm going to take the stage time.
Yes.
100% I'm going to
Yeah.
take the stage time. What are you talking
Yes.
about? I'm going to play.
That's
I
how
want
I
to
feel.
perform. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Fuck a
That's how I
fifty
feel too.
dollars. Fuck $100. I'm going to
Yeah.
get stage time for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's come around too, because like, yeah, instead of taking that 100 or, $100 or whatever, you got on that stage and then other people saw you, and down the line that opened opportunities for you that might be worth more than that $100 down the
Right,
line.
right.
So I'm all about that. And it's happened to me, where I've kind of, I kind of given you artwork, and then down the line, you know what I mean? I didn't ask for any money in return,
Right, right.
And I feel like this platform has given me exposure, which could open up other opportunities. So
Oh,
like, I
100%.
don't know. I feel like in the end, I kind of won.
No, I love what she sent me. It was so crazy because I was just like, a wee little lad, going out into the world, and you were the first person that actually communicated with me, and I got pieces of art that wasn't from like where I live, because I live in BFE, I
Mhm.
live in bumfuck Egypt, Freona, Texas, and you know, getting something from like Washington mailed off it was at my door. It was like
Mhm.
such a rush. I was like, oh man, I actually know somebody across the United States that
Mhm.
actually acknowledged the fact that I was existing. You know, and
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where it's like you meet. Have you met, like, do you have like artist friends now that you met along the line of like what this is, like, your
Yeah.
Instagram, and have you like met really good friends because of it?
Yeah, Instagram, yes, absolutely. And it's the weirdest thing too, because Instagram, like, yeah, when we kind of stumbled across each other's profiles, I was blown away by the fact that I could take a picture of a piece of artwork that I did in my parents' basement and upload it to this app and have strangers from everywhere not only see it, but then like put time and energy to like liking it and then going to
Right.
my profile. Like that was mind blowing to me. It's like me making artwork in my basement, other people in the world could see it just right away, like for
Right.
nothing, it cost me nothing. And then I have it's crazy too because I was just talking to him. I just bought some of his merch, but I've talked to this guy. He's like in the New York area. I don't even know his real name. I don't know what he looks like, but me and him have talked about art for years. And
Right.
now he's got like his t-shirts going. And so I bought some of his merch. And it's crazy because I was like, we have talked about artworks, for years, and I don't even know his real name.
Right. Right.
But I feel connected to him, and like I've sent him stuff. He's posted like stickers up around New York, and I've never been to New York, and now I have stickers somewhere in the city that he's put up there for me. So it is wild. And I've also like gotten artwork from other people, or them, sending me messages, and
Right.
it does blow my mind just from Instagram. Like,
have you branched out from, like, I know that you have like your merch and stuff and all
mhm.
that stuff, but have you branched out from Instagram to like maybe, like, have you done some art shows? Have you done, any sort of like thing to promote your art other than Instagram?
Yeah, yeah. So I was able to do my first showing like locally was just like an open. There was a small art group that was happening in the Spokane area. I don't even think they're around anymore, but they had a Facebook page and they're like, "Hey, we have a gallery space. Like, we're doing a show. It's open to all. Like, we're not gonna charge you to put up your work, and we're not gonna charge people to come see it." And so that was my first like experience with like working in like the local art community, and
Right.
it was really positive. Like they had people in there that was like reading poetry. They had sculptors in there, and it was like it was actually above a weed dispensary, the art gallery. So
Nice.
that was awesome. Yeah, and then so I did that, and then that opened up to I think my first one that I was like super proud of is like a restaurant reached out to me through Instagram, but they were a local restaurant, and I was like, hey, like we sponsor an artist like every month, and like we would like you to come like put artwork up in our restaurant, and like it wasn't just like a wall in the restaurant; they let me do the whole like dining room area.
Oh wow.
So I got to do that, and like they invited me back 2 or 3 more times. And I've always sold pieces, like I've always had positive experiences, and I've always sold artwork anytime I've displayed it. So it has branched. And then I did some like arts and crafts fair, where it was just like the towns, like once a year, like we were founded this summer. And so I've done some arts and crafts fairs. Those ones are a little more tedious and require more energy because I got to be like on site and kind of
Right.
be a salesperson, which I didn't really care for. But that has also opened opportunities where I've sold a piece to someone and then 4 years later they told their friend and then their friend messaged me on Instagram being like, hey, can you do a pet portrait of my dog? And I'm like, heck
Yeah.
yeah, I love drawing animals. And so like that was a sale that I made from an art show that I didn't want to be at, you know?
Right. Right.
So it always seems to pay off in the end. But yeah, I did some local stuff. I tried to branch into YouTube. I do like video editing and stuff, but it's just very time consuming.
Oh yeah. Fuck. It takes for fucking ever.
Yeah,
That's one thing
yeah,
I
especially like
learned.
you editing a podcast, like, oh yeah,
It is such a drag. Like I've gotten to the point where it doesn't take me as long as it used to,
yeah.
but man, like there's days where like I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I gotta edit this podcast, and I do not want to do this. It is gonna take for fucking ever. And then there's days
Yeah.
where like I'm like thinking about the podcast and doing a whole bunch of promos, and then I completely forget to edit, and I'm like, oh fuck, and then
Uh,
I got like 7 hours to do so, and I'm like, man, I do not like to be rushed,
uh-huh.
you know. So
Uh-huh.
it's just one of those things where like I'm learning, and you know it might
Mm-hmm.
look like shit sometimes, but you know what? I've only been here for a year. YouTube, give me a fucking break, all right? Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like, yeah, you're doing the podcast, but you're also like, you're doing your music stuff. So like the
Yeah.
podcast is to help. So like, yeah, it's weird because you're like your own little business, your own little promotion company and marketing. Because like I'm doing the artwork, but I'm also trying to like market myself to do and display. Like I'm not an interior designer, so I've had my girlfriend, who's actually like really great at that, help me with displays because I'm not good at that,
Right.
and so I
Right.
can't do everything.
Right.
So
It's good to have a team. It is good to have a
yeah.
team. I am a lone wolf when it comes to this shit. At the beginning, I did have a guy that was there with me for a while at the very beginning, but I kind of ventured off and did my own thing because it was a lot easier to do it by myself. But now I'm
Hmm.
starting to notice like maybe I should get a sound guy, or maybe I
Yeah.
should get like an editor or some type of promoter guy to do the edits for the promos or something, because sometimes like I am thin all the time.
Yeah.
I am so thin sometimes. Like even like last week, like I posted two podcasts last week for Thursday and Sunday, and I had my daughter and
Hmm.
completely lost just the track of time. And I was supposed to post one this week for Thursday, and it's just gonna have to wait until next week. I'm like, how did I forget that Monday is today? And then it just kind of fell off, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna get Park done and do a few others, and then I'm just gonna get back on the road. I'm just gonna get back on track next week because you know what? Fuck it,
Yeah.
it's my podcast. I do what I
Yep.
want.
You're the boss.
I'm the
Yeah,
boss.
you
I'm
set
the
the
fucking
schedule.
boss. Shit. Sorry, I have a
Yeah,
life.
do you feel, because like, is the podcast more to get the music going, or was it always something that you wanted to
It was always something I wanted to do. It was always something I
do?
wanted to do. My music is it's not as separate as people think it is.
Okay.
I will promote my music on my podcast every once in a while,
Okay.
and my stuff, but it is separate from the music because I love music so much. I music is my everything,
Hmm.
and I want the underdogs to know that there is somebody looking for them.
Hmm.
When I started doing the podcast, the podcast, I was like, I'm gonna do music. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do artists. I'm gonna do these small town, mom and pop shops. I want to talk about the crazy stuff. I want to talk about the stuff that people don't know about. And to be honest, Park, like I have not listened to radio music in over a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I've only listened to the people that I found. I've only listened to the people that I know that are making music that don't have a lot of views. And
Hmm.
it's weird because I have now a separation between what music is. I have a separation now where it's like, you can say my favorite artist is, Post Malone, or my favorite artist is, Dance Gavin Dance, or these big ass fucking artists that have been here for a while.
Hmm.
But I'm like, somebody asked me like, who's your favorite artist? I'm like, Big O, or Jeffrey Neurotic or Eli. These people are from Amarillo in this area, or like Wolven. Wolven's a guy that I met like because of Instagram. He sponsored one of his songs. No, actually, Wolven was a TikTok. He posted a TikTok that I came across, and he was like, "I work at this 9 to 5, and nobody really knows that I make music." And I was like, "Oh, bet your ass I know." And so I looked up his stuff, and I'm a friend with him on Instagram, and now like I promote his music sometimes, and I shout him out every once in a while. That's the artists I want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the podcast is about. I want these artists that are like, they're there. They are alive. They are doing these things. And I want people to know.
Mm-hmm. I think, a lot of potential is just being overlooked. And so it's nice when you have a platform and can kind of give someone who's like super talented, but nobody knows about, like, here's your time to kind of share what's going on. And it's nice to like support people that you actually enjoy, where I'm like, I know you as a person and I like your craft. Right. So I want to support that.
Right. 100%. Park, you don't have to get off the phone, but I got to go change the camera battery. So we're going to take just a little bit of a break that actually gives me time to post your friend who is the musician that you sent. So I'm gonna use this time to do that. So give me 1 second, okay?
All right.
I am going to eat your soul and shit. It's Mickey!
Thought you only murdered boys.
I go both ways.
You can call me Demon Ho. Face first covered in blood, brawlers. Darkness overcome me. Fuck it. Pure evil with temptations rising. Got a million fucking wants, but you ain't one of them. So you tell me suck a dick, succubus. But you still wanna hit this? I just killed a model. Skinny bitch. Out back with my chainsaw. Sorry for the mess, I got another man waiting for me, better get the move on.
That's a joke. How could I ever be insecure? I was the snowflake
better get the move on. Fuck all the foreplay. Bitch, I go both ways. Left, right, down, up, chuck. Where's my food? Cause I don't give a fuck. You were barely an appetizer. Don't forget I'm a dream hunter. Thank you, Satan, for the deal. My soul was worth it. For real, I'm feeling like a savage. And now you're dealing with the bad bitch. Bad bitch. Snippy go savage, savage. Need another refill on the blood, pucker up. Waxwork back to fucking shit up like a cup. Surprise! There's a nice knife in your eye. I don't cry over spilled blood, I'll happily lick it up. Perversion very apparent here. Drop another sedative, induce a lucid nightmare. Trying to say hi to my demon friends. Oh hey! KTV is here to play, no wait. Nah. She's gonna let you get away, I'll pay. To watch her smack you to the floor. I love the way you look when you bow down even more.
And now I'm eating your boyfriend. See? At least I'm considered.
Yeah, bow down and drool. Fucking use you as a tool. 6 out of 10 and have a horny spew. Slice, dice, and dip you like fondue. Slip and broke you down and don't even chew. Now I'm slobbing, little hobgoblin. Straight robbing your hood and leave you throbbing. Sobbing, and I'm so shaman bug. Leave you ass up, and if I'm me, you still drop it. Right on my face. I'm so fucking sick of this human race. So I just take, don't think, and eat and love my cake. And head right to the bang, on it. The bank's calling, so put another ring on it. Drip me in rupees, not on it. Holy mackerel, I'll stab you like a marlin. So better not be fishy down, I catch your ass like Merlin. Shake it, bake it, Gina, turn it, with it. Say you summer and I leave your ass running.
Okay, we're back.
Cool.
I actually like when my battery dies and I have to take time off, because that's one of the things that I want people to understand on the podcast is that you could do it. Anybody could do this shit.
Yeah.
Like if you are wanting to do something like this, you are 100% allowed to do it, and you can do it any way you want. And I have a bird in the background
I was gonna ask. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, is that a cat or a bird that I hear?
It's a bird. It's a bird, and she likes to sing when I talk. And like, I like the vibe because it's like natural. You're in a house.
Yes.
I'm in my fucking house right now, and my bird's gawking, and my camera dies, and I have to go do this or whatever, and it gives it this like you're a real person esque vibe. You know, this is real people. This is real deal. This is reality. You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Instead of like the artificial in a studio where everything's perfect. I think that's why I like lo-fi because they'll put those like the vinyl will crack in the background or it sounds
yeah,
more atmospheric. Where I'm like, yeah, like it's real.
it's real. It's real shit. It's real shit. And whenever I've done a few artists. I actually last week I did a correctional officer from Amarillo, and
I think I was part of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
she you know what's crazy? She actually a few days after she was on my podcast, she was like, "I'm starting my own podcast." I was like, "No shit."
Oh
So I
yeah.
help. I kind of gave her the flame of actually like talking about her life in the police system and the prison system and stuff. So now she has a podcast and everything, and I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
it's a crazy adventure.
Yeah.
It's like this conversation right here. Like you have no idea, Park, how long I've been wanting to talk to you. How long I've been wanting to do something. Have like just to give what you given me so many years ago. I was like, one day, Park's gonna be like, who the fuck is this ginger ass tall guy doing? And it's like, nah, it was meant to happen. It was supposed to happen, and I really enjoy our time. How you still got time to talk and stuff?
Oh yeah, I got time.
Okay, we can go on forever, but I like to fucking talk. I like to fucking talk, dude. I could talk for 3-4 hours and not get bored.
Well, that's why you got the podcast. But yeah, I feel like that's how you know if somebody really wants to do something. Because like I like when it's like you're like homemade, like you have to use what you have and make it work.
Right.
Because some people being like, I don't have a nice microphone or I don't have a nice camera, like I can't get this podcast going. It's like, yes, you can. Just use what you have. You have to be a little bit more creative. It's not going to be quality at the beginning, but
Right.
like you can still do it.
100%. 100%. And like if you look back at my first few compared to now, it's a glow up. It's
Yes.
not like 100%, but it is my own personal glow up. It's my own personal, like, I made this shit happen. I started this, and now it's getting better and better every time I move forward. And when people like this talk, and it's for mental health too.
Hmm.
I talk major mental health, and it's one of those things where it's like, if you have time and you don't know what to do with it, there's two things that will happen. Either you get depressed or you're creative. And the people that are
Hmm.
depressed need to know that you can be creative and you can
Hmm.
get out there and you can do these things. Because I have one job and it's at night. And when I wake up in the afternoon, I have nothing to do. I could clean my house, I could do all my errands or whatever the fuck. But um, I have a lot of time on my hands, and that's
Hmm.
why I started doing, like, it wasn't why I started, but it was a push to actually start doing what I wanted because I had so much time on my hands. I was becoming anxious. I was becoming depressed. I was like, what
Hmm.
the fuck am I, staying in my room for 5 hours all day, watching Facebook videos and playing video games and
Hmm.
stuff like that. I wasn't doing nothing. I wasn't doing
Hmm.
anything that was going to help me, like, benefit me in my life. And it kind of pushed
Hmm.
me to, like, I could buy a soundboard, I could buy a camera and mics and shit, and I could see where it takes me. Now, it's gonna take me a long time. It's gonna take me forever to get where I want, but
Hmm.
that's the fucking adventure. That's the whole reason we're
Hmm.
doing this.
Yeah, I definitely think that part of it, a lot of people that become depressed with all this, downtime that they have and they don't know what to do with is like, they just haven't, which took me a while to figure out too, they just haven't figured out their purpose yet.
Right.
Like, what is my purpose? What do I want my purpose to be? What makes me feel good? Like, typically it's like, how can I help other people? Which I've learned from my girlfriend too. She found out like what her purpose was really quickly and she wanted to serve other people and help better their lives. and that she saw that a lot of people that were depressed like didn't have a purpose and didn't feel like they were contributing to anyone else's life, which can,
Right.
pick up your own, like, man, when I was like, yeah, and she talked about stuff, I was like, that's it. Like, I see these people that have so much creative potential and they're depressed as hell and they don't know what they're doing and they don't have a purpose or a direction to go in and they just haven't figured that out yet. And they
Right.
need to figure that out and then it will greatly improve their life.
Right. Hold on, Park. Bex? Bex? Hey, Donnie, are you outside? Hold on, give me a second.
Yeah, you're good.
Park. What the fuck is going on?
As death's wings embrace me, I hear the sound of the dead. The sweet sound of death. The sweet sound of death. The sweet sound of
Tripping me out. I thought there was a ghost in my house. No,
You hearing stuff? Like, who's around?
yeah, like my dogs were looking at the door, and I was like, "Who's here? Who's in my house?" But yeah, like honestly, like it and like with COVID and stuff, like COVID hit, and it was like a huge shift in like you had work every single day, and now you don't have nothing, and people were like, "Oh shit!" Like I forgot that I had talent. I forgot that I played guitar. I forgot that I knew how to sing. I forgot that all of these things, and it's like now they have this. It's I don't know. Do you deal with anxiety, Park? Do you deal with like major anxiety issues?
I have like small anxiety. Mine was more heavily depression. I was
Okay.
more depressed than I was anxious. Yeah, I was very
Okay.
low.
So when I got diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, it was actually after I graduated high school, and it was crazy because like the doctor was like, "Yeah, you've had this your whole life. You've had this
shit.
anxiety problem your whole life, and you didn't even know." And it was
Yeah.
because that I was filling my life with school, work, girlfriends, a band practice, friends, hanging out with homies, my car. I had so much stuff going on in my life that I didn't have time to realize that I had this. And whenever I graduated high school, all I had was work and home. And I woke up one day and I was like, oh shit, like this is, like there's a problem in my mind. I have a problem. And I feel like that's what that has happened in this world right now. COVID hit and they have so much time. They're like, I can do whatever I want. We can go, I can hang out with my family more. I can do this, I can do that. And you can. But the flood of the time, the flood of actually having time to be yourself and to self-care and to be at home and watch TV for longer, or you can literally do anything with this time, weighs on people because they have not had that time ever before in their life, and that's when they become depressed and have anxiety and these major mental issues because nobody has helped them. Nobody has shown them, hey, you have a problem. We need to find the underlying problem now. But instead, they're at home sulking and being sad and having depression because they want to do these things, but they don't know how to because they never were able to in the beginning.
It is interesting, yeah, when you because work and school or all these social things before the pandemic, they were kind of distractions, you didn't have to deal with any mental health stuff that was going on because you were so busy.
Right.
And now you've given this time where now you have to hang out with yourself. Now you have to see your problems or deal with your issues that you can't distract from anymore.
Right, 100%.
Yeah, man.
Say it again.
I was just gonna say, I wish I would have dealt with my mental health stuff while I was dropping in and out of college. I'm kind of bummed that I waited so long to I need to go talk to a therapist, or you know what I mean? I need to seek other forms of treatment besides partying and drinking a lot of alcohol. Just more distractions instead of distracting me from what I'm feeling and thinking. Yeah. And I feel that the pandemic, people had to hang out with themselves, and they're I don't think I really like myself, and now I'm stuck with myself.
That's a hard pill to swallow, to know, to be your life is just so crazy, and you're just I think I fucking don't like me, I don't like myself. That's crazy but oh man. The divorce rate and all that shit was high, super high when the pandemic hit. It's because everyone was just living life. Yeah, you like the thought of somebody. You like the time that you have with that person, whether it be 15 minutes or an hour or a day off with that person. But then you're there with them for weeks on end, and you're like, bitch, get the fuck away from me, you annoying ass.
Yeah, people are all up in each other's business all the time now. Yeah, and they're
real.
Dude, we have all these issues that we haven't talked about as being a couple, and I have all these issues that I haven't addressed as an individual, and now they're coming out, and we are getting a divorce.
Speaking of problems and stuff, has your art career affected any of your life outside of park art?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what you mean by that. A couple times I got recognized in the grocery store locally.
No, so as in you're trying to pursue this as a career. You're trying to pursue this as I don't know, Park. Are you pursuing this as a career?
I mean, ideally that would be the dream. I feel I'm kind of a little bit more realistic. That's why I'm getting the freaking accounting degree, is because I think that would make me anxious if I didn't have a steady paycheck. If I, if I didn't, I don't know if I could live fully as an artist without a flow of income.
Right. So what I mean is you're pursuing this art, you're pursuing this career of sorts. Has it ever affected your love life? Has it ever affected your social life? Has it ever affected has it started a problem in your social life or love life at all?
Yeah. I mean, there are, I don't know, I guess there were times where, I would not go to a party which I guess kind of benefited me too. I would not go to a party or a social gathering because I was in the middle of painting. So I'm going to
right.
like pass on that. I'm not going to that. There were times too where I think a couple friends, which I mean, they could be right, where I do pull a lot from my life and put in the art. So there's some art like word pieces and stuff that I've done where a friend of mine has felt like that was specifically directed at them. And so they've kind of gotten upset with that.
Oh, okay.
And then there was a relationship that, I mean, the relationship was already toxic. Like me and her were not good. And then it did come down to where she did tell me, like, I think you will love art more than me ever. Like, you know, the art will always come before me.
Right.
Which in that situation it did. But I also think that she wasn't the right person.
Right.
So,
right.
and that's, yeah. So the art, she did say, like, you will love your art and dedicate more artwork, you know, time to your artwork than you do me. And for her, yeah, that was definitely happening. Not that that was okay, but it was happening in my relationship. Now I've kind of let her know, because that is a fear of mine where I don't want my partner to feel neglected because I'm like obsessed with art.
Right. Right.
So I've let her know that, and so we've also communicated that to her, and she also doesn't want to like make me make that choice. So it's a little bit more fair playing ground. I think it's just more communication now. But
right. Right. 100%.
In the past, it's had some negative. Moving forward, not so much.
Well, that's good.
Hopefully.
That's good. That's
Sometimes
good.
she's like, you need to come out of your art studio. Like, I haven't seen you all day. Like, I need some like quality time. So
come fucking eat macaroni and cheese with me, and you know, watch a show with me. Come on, tell me how your day was. Shit.
Yep. So I'll get pulled out of there. So I will lose myself in the art, but I think if it's the right person, I can, you know, respect her needs need to get met too, and so I can step away to do that.
Yeah, I've noticed it's a little tough. It's a little tough over here too. Whenever, you know, I like today. Oh, it's been wild. It's been a wild hectic day. You know, and it is usually 1 or 2 days out of the week where it's like really hectic. But like today is one of those days where I'm gonna do podcast. You know, I'm doing podcast with you, and then I gotta drive to the next town, which is about 35 minutes away, and record for a few hours, and then come home and, you know, go to work. I will literally do that. Come home, go to work, and then I will be in bed at 4 in the morning. You know, I'm talking on podcast for 2 hours. I go and do practice with my band, or I record in the studio with Big, and then I come home, eat maybe eat dinner, and then go to work and stuff. And that's like maybe 2, sometimes 3 days out of the week. And sometimes, you know, my fiance's like, dude, you're going to fucking chill with me today. And I don't give a fuck if you don't like it or not, you know? And I try to schedule my stuff in advance and let her know, like, hey, like, I got podcasts. I also got recording and stuff like that. I do let her know. But, you know, like, real life doesn't stop. Real life can't stop for this shit, you know? And like today, you know, she got stuck in a fucking ditch, and I'm like, oh, well, goddamn, son of a... Like, it's so random, but, like, that's life, you know?
Yeah. I've had the balance, finding the balance is hard, because when I was, like, by myself, I could be as selfish as I wanted, and I could dedicate as much time and, you know, to artwork as I wanted, but then, you know, learning that I did want a relationship. I just didn't want to admit that. So then when I finally came to terms with that, and then now I have to be like, okay, I have to divide my time up. I don't get to be as selfish as I want to. I don't, just because I feel the creative flow or an idea, I don't get just to drop everything and go run and do it.
Right. 100%. Is there, I'm going to ask one more question and we'll cut it off, but, is there anything that you would like to say to like the viewers, the artists, the starving artists out there that are wanting to do what you do, Park, and actually embrace this art platform and embrace that the world is in need of people like you? Is there anything you want to say to them?
Well, first I would say, don't be a starving artist. Like, that's not a good road to go down. I think if yeah, if you're passionate about, you have a creative hobby or passion, I think it's totally acceptable and totally fine to get a normal ass job to provide yourself with financial like needs and to funnel that into your creative activity.
Right.
So
Great.
yeah, I don't think that, yeah, like, because I thought that too, of like, you hear all the greats and they're starving artists and they just dabbled or lived on the streets and lived in poverty but made beautiful artwork and that's how they did it. I don't think we need to do that. I think it's totally okay to get a regular ass job and then put all that money that you earn from that into your creative habit.
Right.
And then I think it's just do it. Honestly, it's just stick with it.
Just fucking do it, guys.
Fucking do it. Don't make excuses. Like just because you don't have the best equipment or the best tools or you don't know where to begin. There's lots of resources and you're already creative, so you can already like troubleshoot things on your own. And I think obviously you can try to reach out to people that have done it and see if they can kind of give you some guidance, but honestly it's just trial and error and just being fucking persistent. That's really it.
So get a fucking job, guys. You fucking hobes. Get a fucking job. Do it. Just fucking do it. All right, and be fucking persistent. All right.
Yeah.
I want to see your fucking art every fucking day on Instagram. I want to see you at work. All right. What's a big like a not a thrift store, but like what's your gas station? What's the biggest gas station you have over there?
They've all turned into these things called nom-noms, which I'm not even sure.
What the fuck? Nom-noms?
They're called, which I'm like, did a Japanese company come in here because they made all their like their logos all cute. They're like hamburgers and French fries. They made them all cutesy.
Yeah.
But it used to be just like Texaco and Zip Trip.
Wow.
There's one in Idaho that's their brand is called the Stinker Stations, and they have like a skunk, and I love that.
What the
one.
heck,
like,
Stinker Stations?
We should get Stinker Station gas stations around here and have a skunk logo. Like that's awesome.
Yeah. We have Allsups, like that. That's the place. Allsups. It's if you ever want to know what a really good burrito tastes like, Allsups is the place to go. They have the best fucking fried burritos. If you ever come down this way, you want to say what's up to Almighty Side, just fucking come over here. I'll get you a fucking bean and beef burrito, and it'll change your fucking world. But get yourself a fucking job at Allsups or a Stinker Station. Get your money and fucking do this shit. Park, it was fucking amazing to finally talk to you. It was an honor to finally actually give something back to you as an artist, because I'm telling you right now, it wasn't the whole deal, but you were inspiration for me to keep on going. And I always think about, like, I gotta send off something to the Park. I gotta do it. She told me it was art for art. I have to do it. So I want you to know that, like, yes, I'm a fanboy. I fucking love your shit, and I've always wanted to talk to you, but in a real sense, like, I hope that this right here, stays the way it is, and we become friends, in the future or whatever.
Yeah.
But plug your shit. What do you got going on? Do you got anything going on other than just your stuff? Do you have something big coming up or anything special?
Well, let me see. Well, first of all, I want to say I'm very proud of both of us for just starting off our little like creative adventures on a social media app, and look how far we've come. So I'm like, yeah, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of me. Like, that's great. As far as art stuff, I mean, I'm kind of rebranding a little bit on park_art on Instagram. I'm trying to get a more competitive layout going. The artwork will stay the same. I think just how I present it is going to get a little bit more mature, hopefully.
Okay.
Right now, let me think. Oh, my buddy Logan, who's like the local musician that I'd actually met through Instagram also. I'm doing he's like releasing an EP, and I'm doing the cover for the EP.
Oh, wow.
So that's really fun, which has also been on my bucket list. Like, I would love to work with more local musicians on, like, yeah, if they need artwork for merch, if they need artwork for their soundtracks, like, I would love to do that.
Right.
So I'm working with him. And then the only other thing is I've been messaging a local coffee shop. I'm trying to get them to let me display some artwork in their location this upcoming year. So I think that's what I'm working on today is they want some like concept or some like mock photo. So I'm going to try to put some pieces together and present it to them in a way where I can trick them into thinking I'm professional enough to sell artwork in their coffee shop. So
Awesome.
that's really it. But
Is there any other social platforms that you want to shout out other than Instagram?
I'm on Facebook, more so for local stuff, but I'll add pretty much anyone on my art Facebook page. I think that one's just parkart as well.
Okay.
That's really it. I had a YouTube going for a little bit. I wish I could play around with it more, but that's really it. I did some TikTok. I'd like to do like time lapse, like drawing. Yeah, so like I did set up my camera and like you could see me drawing and I put it to some music. I would love to do more time lapse drawing. So I can't even remember what my TikTok is. It's probably just park art. Ideally, I would get more, be more active on there. But really, it's mostly Instagram. Instagram's where I'm at most frequently. Easiest way to get in touch with me. A link to like my Etsy page to get prints and stuff. But yeah.
All right, yeah. And I'll plug all that stuff, your Etsy page and all that stuff right there. That way people can get a hold of your merch and everything. But like I said, Park, it was an honor to fucking talk to you. And I'm as much as you are, I am as proud as I'm as proud of us as you are. And I'm glad that we actually got in contact with each other to do this. And thank you for, talking about the stuff that you probably didn't want to talk about and all of the and just everything. I just, it's one of those things where people love to know about everything that is a part of somebody. So I'm glad that you got on here and talked your shit with me. And you know what? Maybe next time, maybe if I need another guest, I'll just fucking call you up and we'll talk our shit again.
Yeah, I'd be down. Yeah, you were great. I wasn't sure it was gonna go. Yeah, you had pieces you want to talk about. I love that. Like you were very welcoming. You're funny. Like it was. Yeah, I feel like we had a really good flow, and we've never even spoken before. So.
Hell yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Like you're good at this. You're gonna fucking succeed. So I'm not worried there.
Thank you. Yeah, well, Park, I'll probably text you about all the deets. I'll give you some promo vids and all that stuff. And
yes.
I'll hit you up in the next few days. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, send me lots of promo stuff. I would definitely like to shout you out and let people know where they follow me, where they can get like a little bit behind the scenes stuff that they've never seen before. So yeah, I'm excited.
All right, sounds good, Park. We'll talk to you later. Okay.
All right. Enjoy your day.
All right, you too. Bye. Well, there you have it, folks. Miss Park, the whole of her, comes to podcast to talk her shit, and what a fucking time it was. A lot of stuff, ups and downs, turnarounds. But anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all coming on, and we'll see you next time. And like always, you know what? But like always, guys. Why does it take me forever to fucking do the ending? I always fuck up the ending. Always. I don't want problems. I don't want peace. I want problems. Always. There it is. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. And like always, go fuck yourself, dude.